So you deny making the deepfake, but you admit, you confess to distributing, which is publishing the deepfake.
Oh, that's still also a crime.
Ramsey's lawyer said, well, he was drunk. He admitted.
What? That's your defense? I mean, yeah, I might have killed him, Your Honor, but I was drunk. I couldn't be held responsible for this murder. So all crime is legal as long as you remember to, get drunk first.
What I'm saying is he wasn't interacting. In the past, he was cursing at people. He was taking interviews. He was saying stuff. And then he was smiling, smirking. Now he quickly ran to get in the cab. He wants nothing to do with the media. It reflects that I think he realizes this is serious and he's about to find out. He realized.
Yeah, finally. I mean, too little, too late. This is the attitude he should have had from the start. All right. Jonny Somali, one of the nuisance streamers, the IRL streamers that we all love to hate, has been trapped in Korea for the last year. They won't let him leave. He's had an ongoing trial, and it looks like it may have finally come to a conclusion. I know he was facing at most, 12 years? He was looking at 12 years for all the shit he did. The shit talking he kept doing, and a lot of the stuff he did, people didn't see what the big deal was. And what they don't understand is that when you're in another country, you have to abide by their laws. The saying is, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. Not be a total jackass all the time because you're from America, so the laws don't apply to you. They do. So a lot of the stuff he did wouldn't be illegal here in the States. But he wasn't here in the States. He was in Korea, where a lot of the things were illegal. Now, foreign countries will generally give you a little bit of leniency if you're just a normal tourist and you happen to accidentally break a law you didn't realize was a law. Most of the time they'll understand. You're not from here. You don't understand the laws. They'll typically let you go with a warning. Letting you know, hey, can't do that here. Don't do that. And then you don't. If they find you repeating it, especially when you're on camera being told not to do it, now there's intentionality behind what you've done. It's no longer I didn't know any better situation. You're doing it intentionally. You knew better, and you're doing it on purpose to mock our country, to embarrass us. Yeah, like they get offended at that stuff, and they don't just let you offend them over there. You know, if you're disrespecting their country, they're going to take action against you. So that's what they've done to Jonny Somali. So he's been there for a little over a year at this point. I know he was going over there. Like he's had a habit of doing this in multiple countries. He was the one going to Japan, and he'd be on the bus or something, and he'd keep randomly asking just random Japanese people, just saying Nagasaki and Hiroshima, obviously referencing the bombs we dropped on them. Not a good look. That's a good way to get your ass whooped. So he got away with shit like that in Japan. Then he went over to Korea. They already knew who he was. Man had a reputation at this point, and they were waiting for him to do some of the shit that he's been known to do. And then he did it, and then they arrested him. And now he's been waiting to go on trial for that. While he's been arrested, while waiting for this trial, he continued to live stream. He talked shit about the judge that will be deciding his fate, which is astronomically stupid. He would talk shit about the cops. He would talk shit about their government. He would just continue to talk shit. Keep in mind that talking shit like that is what landed him in cuffs in the first place. Your freedom of speech isn't exactly as free in other countries, if you know what I mean. So now we get to see if he's still the shit-talking confident bastard he was in the beginning, or if he's going to cry on the stand, or, I want to see that moment where reality hits him in the face. I hope they live streamed this, but I don't think they do that over there. But I do want that moment where reality sets in and he realizes he might not get away with it. I want to see how he reacts to that. So we got a fast facts from Legal Mindset. So he'll be breaking down. He's very familiar with laws in those foreign countries is I think he lives in Korea. He may have even actually gone to the case. I don't know. I think I remember one law tuber actually went to the trial. So he may have actually gone. But anyway, he's going to break it down for us and let us know how fucked Jonny Somali actually is. Let's get this pulled up. All right. Legal Mindset, tell us how fucked Jonny Somali is.
Khalid Ismail, aka Jonny Somali, had a disastrous day in court today where pretty much everything that could go wrong went wrong. There were some surprises, some twists, and we had some updates after my coverage to bring you today. Some extra information, some extra, a little extra spice to make it even worse. And of course, we're going to cover this all on the Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney who's been covering the Somali Ramzi Khalid Ismail saga, the criminal saga in Korea from beginning to end. And boy, we were waiting for this trial day for months, and it did not disappoint.
I can't wait to see where it goes. Didn't disappoint. That means he got in trouble.
This was the most crazy, dramatic day to date, and also the longest to date at clocking in at a little over 26 minutes, which compared to last hearings, which only lasted, 10, 5, 15 minutes, was actually a lot. And there were a ton of legal mistakes, blunders, omissions, confessions, things that absolutely turn this case against Ramzi Khalid Ismail and make it look really, really bad. Of course, this is the fast facts version, getting you the quick and dirty version. If you guys like this, please let me know in the comments below, and make sure you leave a comment and like the video. All right, so let's get into the PowerPoint, because of course I have one. This is the recap of the trial today, August 13th, 2025. Now, pre-trial, this is in Seoul, South Korea, same courtroom, same place. It was a rainy day. The courtroom was packed. This Korean media was there. The Somali conviction team was there. Hank was there. There was also a kick streamer there to watch it as well. Of course,
it's probably the most attention he's ever got. Wait, which kick streamer was there?
Nobody allowed to do video or audio from the courtroom.
Damn, that's what I was afraid of. Fuck.
However, we did give you live play-by-plays because there are ways to do that. Ramzi Somali was late by a few minutes. Hank and Ramzi's lawyer went.
Being late for your trial after you've had a year to prepare for it is not a good look.
To find him, so Hank went out to find him. Ramzi's lawyer went out to find him.
Wait, was he trying to run?
Eventually, they did find him. When he came in, he was dressed in a suit. He had a nice buzz cut. You're going to see photos of him later, but he looked gaunt. He looked thin. He had deep circles around his eyes. It was described that his deep circles had circles. He also was resigned. He did not make faces. He didn't look around at the crowd. He didn't stick out his tongue like he did in previous engagements.
Reality is starting to set in. I knew it. Here comes the moment of truth, boys. It's like, oh, shit. All that shit she was talking. Where's it at now, Jonny? Where's it at now?
Previous court dates. So he had a huge attitude shift going forward into this date. There was.
Yeah, his lawyer probably sat down and had a good long talk with him about, we might not win this. This is what you're looking at. Like, shit got real for him real quick.
Also, a new interpreter sworn in. Last time there were interpreting issues. We had a new one, and the reviews from everybody, including people who spoke Korean and were doing translating for the Somali conviction team, was this translator was excellent. Not just good, excellent, perfect, 10 out of 10, great interpreter, which was amazing. So let's talk about, first of all, the first thing that came up was, did Hank lie? Now, Hank, in an interview recently with K-Town Social Club, said that Ramzi is no longer living with him, and Ramzi gave Hank's address in court. So either Hank was lying on the interview, or it's contempt of court. It's contempt of court. That's an additional crime that he's committing there. Or Hank is lying. I'm not going to say which way it is. You guys can kind of make up your mind. Most people seem to think it's probably a lie to throw them off the trail. But
yeah, I'm going with a lie. I'm willing to bet he's at that point now where he is desperate and willing to do literally anything he can to get out of this, because he's starting to realize that he might actually be stuck here. Like, he wasn't taking it seriously until now, and now he's like, oh shit, I might actually need to run. Like, I don't want to be here for the rest of my life, for the next 12 years. That's That's what's happening here. Man's actually scared now.
Who knows? We don't really know. Hank also appeared to be distancing himself from Somali in a recent interview, but he sat in the front row. He went to find Ramsey and he escorted him home with the lawyer in a cab. So he essentially was right there winging him the entire time. And right now we're going to get into the next part, which was a disaster, which was Ramsey's lawyer. Now, this is not to say he's incompetent or there's anything in terms of skill. Once again, as a lawyer, even if you're an amazing lawyer, you can be handed a bad case. The other thing that's going on here is if the client tells you to argue something, you kind of have to argue it, even if you don't want to. So if the client says, hey, I want to...
Yeah, we saw that in the Carl Jobs video where Carl Jobs trial, where he's arguing shit that has nothing to do with it in such a desperate attempt to prove Billy Mitchell's a liar. Which, by the way, Carl Jobs had the chance to prove that Billy Mitchell was a liar and prove that he cheated, but instead... he didn't want to prove that he cheated. He wanted to prove that he had the reputation of a cheater, which is okay. I mean, why did you pick that distinction? He's like, I didn't have to prove he cheated. I just had to prove he had the reputation of a cheater. Wouldn't proving he was a cheater explain why he has the reputation, though? I mean, it seems like that would be the best way to do both. I don't understand. But, you know, Carl's lawyer has to argue the things that Carl tells him he wants him to argue. That's his job. And didn't pan out so well for Carl. I'm going to guess it's not going to pan out so well for Somali.
Plead not guilty, but you don't really have any evidence. You don't have any backup. The argument really doesn't work. Well, you have to go with that. And even a really good lawyer, even an amazing lawyer, can kind of be put in a bad place. And I kind of feel bad for Ramsey's attorney because it's very clear that Jonny and his, fools on Discord, etc., are feeding these arguments in that just do not work in court. They're not Korean lawyers. They don't know.
They're H3 snark mods with their shitty fucking arguments that won't work. I just put up a fucking video on my channel with making fun of some of their arguments and how they're not going to work in court. So we'll get to see this again when the H3 snark mods go to court. Because they will go to court. They're not getting out of the subpoena. Like, that's not happening. You guys are going to have to go to court. And you will get completely fucking mogged by a judge when you pull up these absolutely terrible arguments. It's not a swastika, it's a manji. It's from an anime, you idiot. It's a manji. No one would think that was a swastika. And then you get in front of the judge. That there looked like a swastika. Why did you guys put a swastika in your video? Well, Judge, it's actually not a swastika. Well, to me, it looks like a swastika. I'm pretty sure they interpreted it as such. Yeah, like this shit doesn't work in the real world, man. I can't believe Somali's dumb enough to take Discord arguments into a courtroom.
Korean law. Johnny's not a Korean lawyer, but he's trying to force these arguments that just don't work in the Korean system. And it led to a lot of losses today. Loss after loss after loss. There was not a single win, even.
Damn, he didn't even win a single argument? Oh, he is fucked.
Procedurally, even small victories for the Somali team. So let's talk about that. So right off the bat, the first thing in the hearing was the judge asked Ramsey's lawyer for any specific evidence on the crimes Ramsey pled not guilty to. So specifically the deepfakes. We're talking about the deepfakes for which he pled not guilty. So the judge says, hey, what evidence do you have? And the lawyer was completely flustered by this. He could not answer. He said, hey,
So that sounds like something different with Korean court than American court. In American court, you're innocent till proven guilty. You don't have to prove you didn't do something. They have to prove you did. So when you say that you didn't do it, they don't look at you and go, well, what evidence do you have that you didn't do it? No, they then look at the prosecution and say, do you have any evidence of this crime? So that's how ours works a little different. Sounds like in Korea, not the case, which makes this infinitely harder to win. Holy shit.
Submitted that to the court. So, you should have that, right? But he couldn't, when pressed, give any of the information, any defense at all. He couldn't remember any specifics. That's not good. Now, what may have happened here is Jonny may have had this packet of information, perhaps the dossier prepared by his Discord, which was submitted to the judge or submitted to the court. However,
the Discord dossier will save me in trial.
Didn't really memorize that, didn't really go through it. Maybe he's busy, maybe he didn't have time, maybe he didn't understand it. Who knows? We don't know what's going on, but that was a very bad look and did not look good in court. Beyond that, Ramsey's lawyer tried to complain about.
So pay attention closely to the Jonny Somali trial and how it's going to go. Now, granted, it's a little different because it's Korean court, but I think the general premise is the same here. You guys are getting kind of a preview, kind of a what's to come for the H3 trial against specifically against the H3 snark mods, because once that subpoena does finally go through, because they're trying to fight it right now, but once that goes through, we will know the identity of the H3 snark mods, and they will have their day in court against Ethan. Pay attention to what Johnny's doing here, because he's using Discord talking points. He's using all of the stuff that he's been using online forever to like get gassed up by his audience. You're gonna see a lot of that from the H3 snark mods. I can almost guarantee you'll see a lot of that in court from them. They'll be using a lot of those internet arguments that don't work in the real world, and that's what's going to make it so funny.
Late notice and procedure.
What is up with my headset? Why does it keep turning everybody into a robot?
And he tried to kind of make it sound like the prosecution was doing something bad or untoward or unofficial or breaking the rules. And now the prosecutor, and I have been in this courtroom, I've seen the prosecutor. The prosecutor looks like a very nice, mild-mannered, calm guy. I watched him an entire day in court cases. I sat in another day and watched like 6-7 trials. This guy never was aggressive. He never got angry, was very calm and collected, very professional. But all the reports from the courtroom today, and I went over several after the stream, I asked several sources, I said, hey, was this what happened? And they said, yes. He aggressively countered Ramsey's lawyer in a way in which is not typical for a prosecutor to normally do. Pretty much, Ramsey's lawyer was saying, hey, you're doing something wrong. And the prosecutor got up and said, oh, hell no. And excuse my language, or I'll put some in the swear jar, but said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. All notice we gave was proper. Everything was legal. We followed the procedure. And the judge quickly stepped in and took the side of the prosecutor, not Ramsey's lawyer, overruled Ramsey's lawyer and said verbatim, this is not an issue, move on. So absolute
damn, yeah, we ain't worried about this, son.
Procedural L, massive procedural L for Ramsey's lawyer. Going beyond that, there was the new charge, the charge of the additional obstruction. That's once again, the fourth obstruction charge that was coming up. It was revealed that this new charge, was for conduct on 2 Seoul buses on September 27, 2024.
Oh, I gotta figure out what's causing my... What is causing my headphones to do that? Let's try to change them to this version of my headphones. Maybe that'll do it a little bit less. Maybe it's other. Maybe I'm using the wrong driver. Okay.
4. Now, this was for, they stated stuff like playing loud music and TTS and playing North Korean propaganda. Now, mind you,
yeah, they do not look kindly on playing North Korean propaganda in South Korea. No, that is a no. That is like instant L.
is not charged under the terrorism statute, under the terrorism law. He's still charged under obstruction of business. So it doesn't change the nature and make him guilty of terrorism. However, it does conclude that they were factoring in the fact that he was playing North Korean propaganda. They know, and they were listening to that. It says that disturbed the passengers, it disrupted operations, and ultimately...
Yeah, and you live streamed the crimes. Like, the cops are watching his streams. This is, like, I don't know how you even argue this stuff. They could just pull up your VODs, man.
For a obstruction of business, if you disturb normal operations of business, you are guilty. So therefore, Ramsey knew he was dead to rights on this and pled guilty to this new obstruction charge. So once again, another guilty on the bucket. Now we're going to talk about the...
Okay, so he's definitely getting punished. He's already pled guilty to some of the counts here. The question is, like, how punished is he going to get? I'm going to guess... if he doesn't get found on all of them, just from the ones he's pled guilty to, which is 6 of them so far, I'm gonna guess 5 years. I was gonna say 1 year per charge, but maybe some of them are minor offenses, so maybe they just say 5 years. Yeah, no, he's fucked, man.
Other things that he pled guilty to. So previously, Ramsey had pled not guilty to the Lotte World charge. That is going into Lotte World, causing a scene, disrupting the ride, causing the ride to close. So we had a huge surprise today. We thought the witness for today was going to be Bong Bong. Everybody thought that, myself included. And you know what? I was wrong. Look at that. I'm admitting I was wrong here. It was actually the witness.
You taking notes, Carl? Pirate Software? Which, by the way, I think we got a brief Pirate Software update. I didn't put it in the title because that's not going to be like a whole segment, but there is something that he's done I want to go over real quick. So Pirate Software is still doubling down because he said, look, I'm admitting I'm wrong. That is something Pirate Software I think is humanly incapable of doing.
Witness that was a staff woman from Lotte World who repeatedly told Ramsey not to film. She was actually quite disturbed by the fact that he would not stop filming.
Yeah, and in other countries, filming like that is illegal. It's not like here where you've got the right to film in public. No, if you're in public and that person didn't consent to filming in Korea, that's a crime there.
And you could see that in the video, in the original video. I've reviewed that video. I'm not going to show her because I don't want to put her face out there and make it, put any pressure on or anything else. But you can see in her face that she was not happy about it. And she showed up. And Ramsey changed his plea to guilty on the Lotte World charge. He may have been gambling that the Lotte World witness would no-show and saying, okay, if the witness no-shows, then okay.
Yeah, that's probably what he was doing. And then they didn't no-show. They showed up, and he's like, fuck!
Okay, we can go with not guilty because she's going to no-show and not be there. However, she showed up and was highly motivated to be there. So big shout-out to Lotte World. Big shout-out for filing this charge. This is one that a lot of members of the SC team, my team, worked really, really hard to see if we can get pressed, to see if we can get in there. And big shout out to the people that helped out, especially people like Bang TV and the others in Korea that really helped press this charge. So because he changed his plea from guilty to not guilty, he now has 6 confirmed guilty charges. 4 obstruction of business and 2 minor crimes act. So he is a confirmed repeat of.
Yeah, I'm still 2 minor crimes, but I'm still going to say 5 years minimum. That's my prediction. 5 years minimum. Knowing nothing about Korean courts or how they work, I'm just shot in the dark. 5 years.
Offender, repeat criminal with all of these. And once again, each charge stacks up the amount of time he can be in jail. At this point, the maximum is 12 years. However, even the default, even the standard punishment would be over 4 years in jail. Even if they don't give him the aggravated maximum of 12 years, the standard, the non-aggravated, is 4 years and some change in terms of months. So even not counting the deepfakes, this is very, very serious. Now, one important thing is Ramsey's lawyer seems to think obstruction and all this is a joke. He actually was scoffing and laughing, etc., when they were talking about obstruction, like, oh, it's not a big deal. This is a big deal, and people have gone to jail for years in Korea for this. Absolutely. So now we have it here, like we said, 4 guilty for the obstruction of business, guilty on the Minor Crimes Act, and not guilty on the deepfake. These are his pleas. Of course, he's going to have to fight this at the next trial, and I do believe there's sufficient evidence to find him guilty on the deepfake counts. We're going to talk about that next. But now we know the 4th count is for the bus North Korean propaganda, the loud music, so we know what's going on here. So he's kind of got 2 obstructions for the bus, one for Lotte World and one for 7-Eleven. This is not just about a cup of noodles, folks. This is much more than a cup of noodles. Going on, let's talk about the deepfakes. And the deepfake is the crime that Jonny Somali fears the most. He's scared to death because this is one that absolutely carries prison time right off the bat. The statute will not allow for fines. It's straight to prison, no other option. Now, the deepfake was a...
Yeah, I want to hear the defense for this because I think it's pretty obvious that he did it. I mean, bragged about it on stream.
Disaster for Johnny's defense. They pretty much confessed. Let's talk about this.
Oh, shit. Yeah, he's fucked.
So Ramsey's lawyer argued that Ramsey doesn't know how to make a deepfake, that he is incompetent to make a deepfake, which, look, we all know that's BS. It takes 2...
He bragged about doing it on stream, though, and your defense is, nah, look, Your Honor, my client's an idiot. He was bragging, but he doesn't actually know how to do that stuff. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, he's caught.
2 seconds to make a deepfake. There's AI, there's other mechanisms. Anybody can make a deepfake, and Ramsey...
Actually, I recently made one myself, just to see if I could do it, having never done an AI video or deepfake or anything like that in my entire life. I grabbed a thumbnail from a YouTube video and decided I wanted to make a deepfake out of it. It did take about 10 minutes. It's not 2 seconds. It took me about 10, 20 minutes. But I'd never done it before. Now that I know how, I can probably do it super fast. But it took me a minute to learn to get the software installed on my computer and learn how to do that. But it didn't take long. I figured it out. A lot of trial and error for that first 10 minutes. I got a lot of bad results, and then the good result made it onto my Twitter timeline. You guys should check it out. It's a banger. It's a banger tweet. I'm mad isn't getting more attention because it's awesome.
You're certainly capable of it. But beyond that, that's what the lawyer said makes him innocent. The lawyer said he didn't make it, so because he didn't make it, he's innocent. But the
also the AI is guilty. The AI made it, Your Honor. We should put the AI in jail. Good luck with that.
Prosecutor immediately countered, once again, getting up there, getting in their face. Great job by the prosecution. Amazing performance. Said, so you deny making the deepfake, but you admit, you confess to distributing, which is publishing the deepfake.
Oh, that's still also a crime.
Ramsey's lawyer said, well, he was drunk. He admitted.
What? That's your defense? I mean, yeah, I might have killed him, Your Honor, but I was drunk. I couldn't be held responsible for this murder. So all crime is legal as long as you remember to, get drunk first. Yeah, that's not how that works, man. It's the worst defense I've ever heard.
Admits distribution, but denies production. So saying he confesses that he distributed, but denies production. First of all, there is no I was drunk defense in the statute. Being drunk or high or whatever is not a defense. It's did you do it or not? There's no state of mind involved here. So being drunk is not at all going to mitigate this or make this better or make him not guilty. That is not going to work at all. But the bombshell admission is the admission of guilt as to production. It's not relevant. The only thing that's relevant is that Ramsey distributed or published it, meaning whether or not Ramsey made it is irrelevant. And just to prove that, let's look at the statute here. Now, I know this language is small. This is the full statute. I want you guys to know he's really going to be hit under number 3 or number 4 here, but you have to read number 2 because number 3 here under the distribution of false video products, the deepfake law, Article 14.2, Article 3 here says a person who commits a crime under paragraph 2 by means and information of communication networks against the will of the subject, Bong Bong and Jungmann, and making profits, he was streaming and making money, shall be punished by imprisonment with labor for not more than 7 years. It also says somebody who habitually commits this can have it aggravated. So that's a big one as well. So he's going to be charged under 3 or 4 here, but this one, he obviously made profit, and we got to read paragraph 2 to find out, okay, what does it describe the crime as? Well, what's the crime? Does it say a person who makes a deepfake? No, it actually doesn't say that, although it does have in another statute in number 1, a person who edits it, synthesizes, or process. But number 2, it says a person who has published. The only thing.
Oh, so the only actual crime is publishing it. They don't care who made it. They care who distributed it. Oh, yeah, he's fucked. God damn, man. Grab that, and then we'll head for these, and then down to here. Okay.
That's important to the crime is that he put it on screen, and because he has now confessed, he put it on screen. In the eyes of the judge and the prosecutor, it's done. It's a shut case. It's over, baby. He's just admitted to it. Now, he's entitled to his right to fight back. He can question the witnesses. And we're going to talk about the witnesses in a second because that was a whole other loss for Somali. But at this point, we have him dead to rights on this crime, which is what I predicted and I've been saying for the past almost year when I've been talking about the deepfake crime, saying, hey, look, it doesn't matter what his excuses are. It doesn't matter who Bong Bong is or Jungmann is or whether they're bad people. Jungmann, one of the streamers who is the cause for one of the deepfakes, is in jail right now. So clearly he's done some bad things, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is Jonny published a deepfake of Jungmann and Jonny published a deepfake of Bong Bong. That's it. That's all. So let's continue here. There was a huge loss. Once again, another disaster regarding the witnesses. So
how does his lawyer not know the actual law he broke and that it's for distributing and not for creating it? Like, he's arguing a thing that's not even part of the law. Sounds like he had a shit lawyer.
Ramsey's lawyer was fighting tooth and nail not to allow the deepfake witnesses. He did not want those deepfake witnesses to come in. That would have been disastrous for him in his mind. Well, the prosecution argued that since Ramsey admits distribution but denies production, the witnesses have to be allowed. They must be allowed for arguing back about the production. The judge sided immediately with the prosecution and allowed the witnesses. Said, no. If you're still fighting this, if you're still pleading not guilty, we're going to allow the witnesses. Now, Ramsey's lawyer went beyond that. So once again, another overrule trying to get rid of him. Now Ramsey's lawyer said, okay, I want extended cross-examination. Instead of the standard 15-minute cross-examination of each witness, I want 25 minutes. The judge denied Ramsey's request.
You get nothing. Good day, sir.
Guys, this is massive. In Korean
this is what?
Request. Guys, this is massive.
Or it's what now?
Ramsey's request. Guys, this is massive.
And you know what else is massive?
In Korean procedure,
that took me way too long to set up, and it was worth it.
Discussing this with lawyers and people experienced with the process, this almost never happens.
What is happening?
Typically, if they request this, they give it. This is the judge telling Ramsey to cope and seethe. It's saying, we don't think your defense has enough. It's not worth it to give you 25 minutes. It's not going to prove anything. So all that dossier, all that other stuff, whatever else you think is relevant, that's really not worth 25. You've got 15 minutes for each witness, 15 minutes for Bong Bong, 15 minutes for Youngman, so 30 minutes total. It'll probably go, about an hour maybe-ish next trial, and that's all you've got. Ramsey's lawyer just has 15 minutes, and we'll see what he does with those 15 minutes. It probably is going to be pretty crazy. So we had a little action outside the court. Here's Ramsey leaving the court with his buzz cut, his new buzz cut, the suit. You see him there with Hank there. Definitely a different look today. So Ramsey quickly left with Hank and his lawyer. They did not interact with media or streamers. They avoided a kick streamer, Paul Risen, who attempted to interview them. And
he's finally taking it seriously. Too little, too late. He's definitely going to jail. But hey, we get to see that he's not the ultimate memer that everyone thought he was. That, he's not worried. Oh, yeah, he's worried. He's very worried.
And the streamer appeared to be anti-Somali generally, so maybe Somali knew that. But what I'm saying is he wasn't interacting. In the past, he was cursing at people. He was taking interviews. He was saying stuff. And he was smiling, smirking. Now he quickly ran to get in the cab. He wants nothing to do with the media. It reflects that I think he realizes this is serious, and he's about to find out. He realized.
Yeah, finally. I mean, too little, too late. This is the attitude he should have had from the start.
This was absolutely a massive loss for him today. Then other news is the next trial is October 29th, same courthouse, 2 p.m. So right before Halloween, we're going to have a spooky surprise for Somali. And the deepfake witnesses will be called next time, Bong Bong and Youngman. So they will be called to testify on October 29th. So we thought they were going to come today. Bong Bong was going to come today. It's no. So Bong Bong and Youngman will be coming at the next trial. So that should be something to look forward to. Will be absolutely insane to see what Ramsey's lawyer tries to question them. I want to know what you guys think about this. How percentage cooked is Ramsey?
90%. I'm not saying there's no chance that maybe his lawyer pulls a Hail Mary play that works, but it's extremely unlikely. I think he's pretty cooked. They are going to throw the book at this kid and make an example out of him, which, good, they should, because this trend of streamers has gone on for too long, them going to other countries and not just being a nuisance to people in those other countries. People here hate them too because you make us look bad. Like, our president's doing a good enough job of making the rest of the world hate us. He doesn't need help. Okay, he doesn't need help.
And I'll catch you on the next one.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
And his exit to the stream is still that moment he got punched in the fucking face. Yeah, Jonny Somali's fucking cooked. Good, because this trend needs to end. All right. Call that segment right there. Finish out this dungeon run real quick. Just got